This video is regarding a BBC News story dated Tuesday, the 13th of April, 2010. The title of the story is Somali Radio Stations Comply with Islamist Music Ban. What the story relates is that there are 13 radio stations based out of Mogadishu in Somalia who were previously broadcasting music, but based on demands and threats of Hizbul-Islam, these stations have stopped broadcasting music altogether. As a matter of fact, not only are they ceasing to broadcast songs, they're not even playing music in their transitions or in their advertisements. What we can see here is this quote. It's echoed in the box to the right as well. We are using other such sounds. We are using other sounds such as gunfire, the noise of vehicles, and birds to link up our programs and news. That's what the head of one of the radio stations said. So the reason that the Somali group is threatening the stations and telling them they have to stop broadcasting music is because they're saying that it's un-Islamic. And I think it's kind of ironic that because of this ban, now they're using the sounds of gunfire to transition in between things on the radio. So apparently the music and the jingles are un-Islamic, but the sounds of gunfire are not. Because as far as I'm aware, there's been no protest from this group about them broadcasting gunfire on these radio stations. No surprise there, really. Another interesting fact is that the only place that you can hear music now in the region is from two stations. One of them is based in Kenya, and it's a UN-funded radio station, and the other is with the government-controlled radio station. Those are the only two stations left that are currently broadcasting any music. So it's interesting that we have a group of Muslims who finds it unacceptable for people to be broadcasting and listening to music, and they find it so unacceptable that they're threatening people with violence. They're threatening to kill people if they don't stop broadcasting music. It's interesting that whenever Muslims seem to be offended by things, they seem to be responding all around the world with violence. We had the cartoon issue that had riots, that had buildings being burnt down. People were killed as a result of it for the Danish cartoons. And recently we had a group called Revolution Muslim who threatened the creators of South Park because they yet again depicted Muhammad in one of their episodes. They showed him in a bear costume because well, presumably they were making a political statement that they're not allowed to show a depiction of Muhammad, so they put him in a bear costume instead, so that all that was there was a large bear. I'm assuming it was reference to the teddy bear named Muhammad issue, which is yet another instance where something happens and Muslims become offended, and their response to this offense is to react with violence. And I find it ironic that these violent reactions, most of these groups, they don't seem to be saying that that's un-Islamic. Apparently it's perfectly Islamic to burn down embassies because of cartoons, to riot in the streets, to call for the killing of a teacher who allowed a student to name, a Muslim student, mind you, to name a teddy bear Muhammad, which just so happens to be the most common name in the Muslim world. So these things are not met with protest, and I want to know if anyone is going to say these people in Somalia, Hizbul-Islam and Al-Shabab, if these fundamentalist Muslim groups in Somalia don't represent Islam, if that's the claim that you're going to bring, they don't represent Islam, where is the outcry from the Muslim world? This is what I want to see. Where is the outcry, the public outcry, condemning these actions? You just don't see it. You don't see protests. You don't see large-scale protests in the street condemning these violent actions. Rather, you see violent protests condemning whatever offends Muslim sensibilities all over the world, up to and including killing people and death threats in every country, including now in the United States, where we have a group called Revolution Muslim who has made a veiled threat against the lives of the creators of South Park for simply daring to show a depiction of Muhammad. Fascinating, sad, the state of the world we live in today, where we are increasingly seeing Western governments, democracies all over the world, bowing and becoming dhimmi and bowing down to these sensibilities, these protests, these acts of violence, and we have to draw the line somewhere. It has to stop, and I hope that in my country and in progressive democracies all around the world where we have a value of free speech and freedom of expression, I hope that we will draw the line now. It's gone far enough. No more being dhimmis, no more bowing down to these demands of terrorists and these demands of violent groups. Enough is enough. I'm including the link to this story in the more information box, so you can feel free to click on that and peruse through the story at your leisure.